Good afternoon. Really good, very timely open week. Our guys had a chance to take a deep breath on Friday and Saturday. There was no practice. Our coaches had an opportunity to go out and recruit a little bit, and I know for me on Saturday, an opportunity to spend with our family, watching some I-9 flag football on Saturday. But our guys came back ready to go yesterday, had a hour-long practice yesterday in just our helmets, and went well. We were able to time on the field. We wanted to keep it as normal as possible for a game week, and so we were only on the field for about an hour on yesterday on Sunday, but we were able to do a lot more installation of the game plan. Normally on a Sunday, it's a lot of corrections from the day before. You don't really know your upcoming opponent very well. So I was excited to get back on the field with our guys. Everybody made it back safely from wherever they were, taking their time off at. And then again, today is their off day, and then tomorrow will be a padded practice. Injury update. Andrew Beck missed yesterday with strep throat. Should be back tomorrow for Tuesday's practice. Sam Ellinger is on schedule from everything that I've been told. I think he threw 10 throws with a Nerf ball yesterday, 15 with a regular football. I think he's scheduled to do something like 25 or 30 with a regular football today. He was at practice yesterday, out there doing everything in the run game, all the handoffs and run game checks and reads and all of that, just being very cautious with how we accelerate his throwing. There's a protocol, if you will, for overhead throwers with AC sprains that we want to make sure we adhere to as aggressively as possible without making sure we don't have any major setbacks that could be lingering. So scheduled for about 25 full padded throws tomorrow. Hopefully ratchet that up to about 50. A normal day for him would be 75 to 80 anyways. And then hoping Thursday, again, barring any setbacks from pain standpoint, or if we see something mechanically that's just not right, we've got to make some decisions. So won't know really anything until tomorrow, and it probably won't know in terms of game status until Thursday, I would imagine. But if he's healthy and he's himself, then certainly he'll start. We talked a while yesterday about him being very honest with us in terms of his pain, because there's an element to his game that's different than a lot of quarterbacks. And if we're out there playing cautious and tentative and trying to protect things, I think that plays into the overall effectiveness of him and his game for us. So we know we've got a great one in Shane ready to go, and got a ton of confidence in him as well. Jeffrey McCulloch will practice tomorrow on the next train with the car accident. Is doing well. And then Josh Thompson hyperextended his knee last week in practice, and had been on the shelf the last couple days, but is expected to practice limited tomorrow. So we'll see how practice goes with him. Other than that, same as it ever was. Questions?
Speaking of Sam, I know you're really into the sports science, of everything. Is there anything you have from a sports science perspective that kind of helps you with your decision regarding the quarterback, where there's things that measure velocity or arm strength? Do you have anything specific?
Yeah. Arm strength, definitely. You know, we'll be able to measure his strength based on a lot of the equipment that we have, the velocity on the football, certainly. And then I think for us, it's going to also be just the naked eye. You know, what does his motion look like? Does it look like he's babying throws? Does it look like he's altering the way that he's used to throwing? But we will have, you know, the different kinds of things that give us some raw data on, you know, where he's at. But I think ultimately it's going to be, does it hurt him too much to be effective, and is, in order to not get it to hurt, is he changing the way that he throws to the detriment of the offense?
And the last thing is, what is your either philosophy or comfort level with playing a quarterback who maybe doesn't take 100% of the reps, you know, especially during your heavy install phase?
Yeah, we're fine. I mean, that part of it's not a huge deal. You know, it's not like he's not going to be at practice or in the meetings. I mean, he'll be, when he's not throwing the 25 throws that he has slated tomorrow, you know, he'll be standing right behind the deal, taking the read, taking the drop, everything. It just, his arm won't go up and throw the football, but all of everything else he'll be able to get that rep in.
Coach, Keontae Ingram's carry count seems to be just trending upward, more work, more trust and all that. Do you envision a time with him just being a 20 carry guy for the team?
Oh, I don't know. What did he get? 19 carries last week, right? So, I mean, we were one off. So, I think, you know, he is a 20 carry guy, or he's a 19 carry guy. But yeah, he'll continue to. We got to be careful also with, you know, I mean, we've this guy that got here in June, you know, and he's played a lot of football, a lot of wear and tear on his body already, having won all the state championships that he won at Carthage, and being kind of the workhorse for them too. So we're definitely cognizant of the long-term effect throughout the season, and we're going to use him as much as we need to win the game. We feel great with Trey as well as Danny. You know, we feel like we've got three guys that at any given time can do what we need to do to win. But you know, if we got to hand them the ball 22 times to win, then we'll hand it to them 22 times. But you know, you'll see, I think, a very measured approach to his workload, you know, throughout the season, because we're going to need him in the postseason too, and then I think you'll see the big jump from a physical development, you know, once Yancey gets his hands on him for 9 months.
Tom, does it help that last season Shane started with 7 games? I think that they played so much the last 2 years that you shouldn't have any psychological drop-off in the locker room with all our quarterbacks hurt.
Yeah, there is zero. I mean, I don't feel it, at least. I think, you know, through the first 6 weeks, I think there's certainly a lot of confidence that Sam had earned in his teammates, but based off what Shane Buechele has done in his career here, you know, there's nobody that doubts that we can win games with him and win big games with him.
That being said, real quick, he does present some different dynamics than Sam does. I mean, how much do you, there's running ability and things like that, I mean, how much do you change the game plan? Or are you building 2 parallel tracks of game plans, or is it just one and good with the guys?
Yeah, I think that gets overblown a lot with quarterbacks. Are they different? Certainly. I don't know any quarterback room that has 2 clones, and do they have certain strengths and weaknesses? Yeah, but I think our offense, it's very easy to plug and play. You know, it's not like we call or we carry in a game plan only these plays when Sam's our quarterback and only these plays when Shane's our quarterback. Now, would you major in some more than other when one guy is in versus the other? Yeah, I think the only time it becomes an issue is when the discrepancy in skill set is so vast that it is impossible to run certain plays with one guy and impossible to run certain plays with the other. So Shane is a very, he's an above-average quarterback. I think the recruiting experts, if you go back, he was a dual-threat guy. So, with a fantastic release, does he do things differently and some things better than Sam? Certainly. But as far as our offense goes, all four of those guys in that room, there's not enough of a gap in their different skill sets to merit different, quote, game plans. It's just, what are you going to maybe use a little bit more if one guy's in versus another?
All right, Stacy.
Tom, it's been well documented the struggles that Oklahoma State has had this season, but where do you think the biggest threat is within this Cowboys team?
Oh, I think, they've got the seventh leading sacker, if that's a word in the country. A guy that's, I think, seventh in the country in sacks. So, they cause a lot of disruption on defense, very multiple. They'll go from 4 down to 3 down to bear to blitz to drop 8. There's a lot of stuff on defense that you're going to have to be prepared for. And then Justice Hill. I mean, this guy's stud. He's as good as there is in our conference. Was last year and continues to be this year. And, he was preseason first team all conference for a reason. So I would imagine they're going to lean on him. But, and then probably third, Stillwater, Oklahoma, in that stadium at 7 p.m. and a blackout on ABC. That's certainly an advantage for them as well. So those are the things I see, the confusion and disruption on defense. Probably the best tailback in the league, if not one of the best. And then, that atmosphere is going to be jumping, I'm sure.
Stay on the right, Cedric.
Tom, you said that last week you wanted to go 1-0 in the bye week, and I guess you did. You guys moved up to 6 in the AP poll. How much do you pay attention to that, and are there any discussions about that? I know you a week-to-week mentality, but there is a big picture dynamic at play.
No, never, zero. I mean, literally zero. It is completely and utterly inconsequential where we're ranked through 7 games of the season. The only thing that matters is what hardware have we taken home and where are we ranked at the end of the season. And so, the only thing we talk about is that we've earned everybody's best shot. So if we think we're going to get anything less than everybody's best shot from here on out, we're kidding ourselves. And that's a cool challenge, one that we've earned and one that really good teams always seem to get. And the elite teams find a way to give their best shot week in and week out.
And about the Cowboys, what challenges does
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me about the Dallas Cowboys. Holy smokes. I was like,
they're dead to us. No, challenges the Oklahoma State Cowboys offense Gundy presents as a play caller, particularly in that stadium where things have gotten away from Texas teams in the past.
you're talking about their offense? Yeah, they've done such a great job over the years. I mean, I go back to the Blackman and Whedon days, and you can go even further back with, Des Bryant and Bobby Reed and those guys. And so, I mean, it's a school that's known for offense, at least in Coach Gundy's tenure there. He does a great job playing to that with all sides of the ball. He's very aggressive in everything that they do. They're going to come after punts. They're going to be really, really sound in the kicking game. They're going to be, as you can see, as we talked about, very disruptive and try to be confusing on defense. And then obviously on offense, they're going to rely on the running back and quarterback. I don't know how they do it, but it seems like every year, I mean, you go from James Washington and Marcel Aitman to now the crew that they have this year, and it's like, They got like a wide receiver factory somewhere up there in Stillwater, and so it is impressive to see what they have done, and they're certainly they're a notch above at home as well. I mean, those guys play out of their shoes when they're playing at home.
In the middle, Joe, on some of your formations, it looks like this year you have one wide receiver covering up another wide receiver and having them ineligible. Although that limits his ability to go downfield, what does that do in the offense? Because y'all have either swing reads or up the middle runs off that formation. What does that do to have him ineligible instead of off the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, so you have to always have, I guess, 7 guys on the line. No, wait, I'm trying to do math. Yeah, 7 on the line of scrimmage, and only the people in the backfield and the 2 guys on the end of the line of scrimmage are eligible. So the formation you're referring to is one that we use quite a bit. There's 3 receivers to the field with the number 2 receiver on the ball, the number 3 receiver off, the number 1 receiver on the ball. So the number 1 receiver is eligible, the number 3 receiver is eligible. Obviously, then the tight end and the tailback are eligible as well, and the quarterback. People a lot of times forget the quarterback's an eligible receiver because he's in the backfield. But what that allows us to do is move the tight end. We have gotten in some unbalanced formations where the tight end's put his hand down, and now that number 2 receiver is off the ball, and all 3 of the receivers are eligible, but the tight end can't move, and he becomes ineligible. So it allows us to run our fullback offense from a shifted formation and kind of see how they line up. Are you going to defend all of those receivers to the field? If so, the chances of you being short numbers-wise in the boundary exist, and we can move our tight end around to exploit that. If you decide to defend the boundary, then you should have an opportunity to dish the ball out to some of your receivers to the field. So, again, either way you want to do it, somebody's got to be ineligible, whether if you're going to line up with your tight end and all 3 receivers on the same side. So if tight end's on the ball, he's ineligible, but all 3 receivers are. If the tight end is off the ball, being able to move around, then you got to put one of those receivers on the ball, and he becomes ineligible.
Stay in the middle, Roger.
Tom, Charles, and many of you toyed with going and decided to come back. To see a guy be able to help you, help his team, and help himself, how key has that been for this defense?
Oh, it's been great. Charles is a great leader. He's a great player. He's a great student. This is a guy that's going to get his degree. He's going to improve his draft stock. He's going to have, the best season he's had since he's been on the 40 acres, and he's going to help us achieve our best season that we've had around here in the last 5 years. So it's a win-win-win-win-win for everybody. He had an opportunity, another year of training with Coach McKnight and Oscar Giles and Todd Orlando. So he's having a great year, and I think it helps certainly the season that he's having, and hopefully the success that he'll have and help our team have, as well as then the success that he'll have in April and beyond, will help some of our young guys understand the value of coming back your senior year and getting your degree.
Far right, Chip.
Tom, you talked about the need for more speed on offense, and Sean Jameson's obviously been a guy who's made some big plays for you. Where's your level of comfort with him and as an offensive player, how he's come along this season? What's the next step for him to be more involved, maybe? Because he's made some big plays.
Yeah, I think the next step for him is we've got to get him completely trustworthy in our base offense. It can't just be, hey, memorize these 5 plays, and these are our special 11 DJ personnel plays. And he's working really hard with that. I know Coach Maringer and Coach Meekins are working day and night with him on that. So that's the only thing is, feeling confident that you can roll him out and say, LJ, go, grab a swig for a series and, let 17 have the series. But we've also got one in Josh Moore that missed last game with the flu that we really like at that position too. So, and in order to do so, I remember there being a topic about wide receiver rotation or something like that at one point. And so, you got to, L.J. Humphrey's got to stand by me, or somebody's got to stand by me on the sideline, one of those, the big three, if you will, in Duvernay, Johnson, and Humphrey. And so there's only one football, and there's only 75 to 85 plays a game, and we got to be smart with how we use him, but we also can't overload him.
Middle, Ed? Coach, you said you watched some kid football this weekend, but I'm interested to know, did you get to see any of the action? The Oregon lost, the Washington State, the Ohio State lost to Purdue, and is that going to be a learning tool for you to tell your players when you go on the road, some strange things will happen this time of the year?
Nah, I didn't see that. We've got plenty of those. We were in Washington D.C. not just whatever it was 7 weeks ago. So I don't think this team needs any secondary kind of learning tools. I think we've learned it firsthand. We were in Manhattan, Kansas. We won the game certainly, but that was a dogfight, and so they're well aware of that championships are won on the road. There's never been a championship team that's gone 0 on the road. It doesn't exist. So you got to win games on the road, and you got to do it very consistently. And it doesn't mean we change how we prepare. It just means that we understand that you're going to get your opponent's best shot because they're playing at home, and you got to dial up your intensity and focus level in the week's preparation just a little bit more.
Tom, you have 2 Thorpe Summit finalists, Caden and Chris. I'm kind of wondering, with that in mind, off the field, how much is Chris, Devontae, some of the older guys, PJ, taking those younger defensive backs under the wing and kind of trying to mentor them?
Yeah, I don't think it's been necessary, to be quite honest with you. I think, those young DBs have been, really, really mature from the time they got here, whether it was Anthony, Caden, and BJ coming in the spring, or Jalen coming in fall camp. Those guys have been, they don't need much mentoring, and the mentoring that they get is, from one of the best DBs coaches in the country, and Jason Washington, and best defensive coordinator in the country, Todd Orlando. And so, the older guys do what they can, but I think it's a testament to how mature these young guys were when they got here, in terms of their, necessity for that.
Middle, Bob?
2 questions, Coach. First, just building a little bit off what Seth asked about, not the Cowboys, but about the ranking and the college ball playoff and all those type of things. It's human nature for guys to hear that stuff, whether they're on campus or on social media, whatever it is. Do you find it benefits you the most to continue pounding the consistent message, or do you have to say anything different as you continue the climb in the top, now in the top 10?
No, I think, again, it is human nature, and I'll repeat this. Any animal with ears can hear. It is a very unique human condition whether we choose to listen or not. And so that's a big teaching point each and every week. You have the choice whether you want to listen to this or not. And that is one of the things we talk about all the time, that, human nature has been the downfall of empires, right? And so why would we think that it cannot be the downfall of a football team? And so our job as coaches is to eliminate human nature, is to be so focused on a singularness of purpose and a love and accountability to each other that it's almost impossible not to listen. And then comes in your decision as to whether eventually you are or aren't going to listen to it. And I think for the most part we've done a really good job of not listening. But to say that I can prevent them from hearing it, yeah, that's one thing. That's never going to happen. But I think we can teach them how not to listen.
And then second, you've been very forthcoming about Sam and his progress, and you could have hidden that from Oklahoma State and said you don't know if it's going to be Sam or Shane. Have you found as a coach when you face somebody you don't know what their quarterback situation is, it makes it any different in preparation? I mean, there's talk Oklahoma State could leave Taylor and go to Drew or Spencer or whoever. Do you find either way it makes a difference?
Again, like for us in our game planning, it is unless the skill sets are completely different. One guy's 6'6", 290 and can throw it through a brick wall, but can't run out of sight in a day, and the other guy's 5'7" and runs a 4.3 but struggles throwing the football. You're defending an offense, and understanding the different strengths of the certain guys and what your opponent may try to do if that guy's in the game. But we dealt with it at Kansas State. We weren't sure who was going to start, who was going to play the most, this, that, and the other, and played really good defense in that game. So I don't. Again, unless the skill set is off the charts different, then it's kind of business as usual, but having an understanding of who each guy is.
Time for two last ones. Kurt and John.
Tom, I wondered during the Bible
Andres, last two.
Self-examination study. I imagine y'all do that each week, but did you do that even to a greater extent and identify any disturbing patterns or just things you really need to improve on after 7 days?
No, not from a tendency standpoint,
Should have
certainly
one more
not.
question.
The things that we do often, we do well. Again, that's, I go back to, I read a book 20 years ago by Brian Billick. It's called Developing an Offensive Game Plan, and kind of the first, experience I had, which is kind of all the metrics and how to develop, and overages, and hey, you've only got, the statistics say that you're only going to encounter 3rd and 1 to 2 twice in a game. So why would you carry 5 plays in that situation? You should carry 2 to 3 max. And so the reason I tell you that is because in that book, he talked about tendencies and examining your tendencies each and every week. But he also said, having a tendency with something you do well that's perfectly okay. And at some point, somebody's going to maybe find a way to stop that or slow it down at least, and then you've got to adjust. But until that comes, it's okay to have certain tendencies if you're achieving your goal more often than not. I think probably the biggest thing for me offensively, I want to see we're going to the right people with our offensive line. We're not getting a whole lot of movement at times, and I want to see us, get a little bit more movement. Again, and both our tackles are 280 pounds. And so we've got to do a good job as coaches of giving them things that they can do and do well on a consistent basis too. And maybe that isn't, sinking a double team on a 3 technique, 40 times a game and trying to root out a 320-pound, 3 technique. So that's on us as coaches. We've got to find out what they do well, but it's also on them to take the coaching and adhere to it. And then I think defensively, we're still not quite to our standard on 3rd down. I think we've got to do a better job, especially the 3rd and medium to long, deals where that's been a cinch to get us off the field. Normally, we've been not quite as good in that down and distance.
Did you ever start another quarterback? You give reps to one of the freshmen? just in case?
Oh, yeah. Cameron Rising has been getting, when Shane gets the reps with the ones, he's been getting the reps with the twos.
Last one, John, I was kind of going that way. No, you said you'll know more about Sam's game status on Thursday, but leading up to there, how does Shane's workload change, and does your gut tell you that it'll likely be him on Saturday?
Oof. I don't know what my gut tells me. I go with what the trainers and the kid tell me. And then workload, like Shane's workload, I mean, he'll take, so tomorrow Sam will take 25 passes worth of the ones reps, and then the rest Shane will take in practice, and then we'll adjust that accordingly on Wednesday as they tell us how many more balls that Sam can throw.